So a couple things. So I want to kind of dive into that and do a mini life course, right? You've had a cool life, right? Like you said, from your parents, budget hotel, Ivy League school, starting a business, and then you just left out being on Shark Tank, right? So I'll kind of throw that one in where we talked about this the last time we were on the show. Mark Cuban invested in your business. He's forwarded your book. I just finished Mark's. Masterclass on masterclass.com, which
Oh,
was
how was it? I haven't gone through it yet.
incredible. I loved every second of it. I got an email. I'm going to email him because he said he answers every email. I'm going to email him, but I loved it. It was brilliant, and I loved everything. Brought a ton of value. But I want to talk about how your book takes people to life prep and finding your why and finding your passion and finding your intrinsic drive, right? So in your story, to me, a through line of you is you being able to find that intrinsic drive. And I don't think that's easy, especially today with phones and distractions. And so if you had to give people three pieces of advice on, kind of how to tap into that in the intrinsic feeling and drive and, courage, what would those be?
Yeah, this is a great question. And so, I'll answer it from the perspective of a student as well as the perspective of an entrepreneur. So, for a student, who's studying for the SAT, I would say identify your larger goal. No one wants a high SAT score just to get a high SAT score. Is there a specific university you want to get into? Or do you want to get $100,000 in college scholarships? Find out what drives you. For me, it was to get into a combined medical program that was highly competitive. That will motivate you to study and turn off all the technology and tune out the distractions, as you were talking about. For entrepreneurs, I would say identify your goal, right? Do you want to hit $100,000 in revenue? Do you want to hit 1 million in revenue? How fast do you want to do it? And, that will drive you to come up with strategies, tactics, and techniques, just like students do on the SAT to improve their score, but in entrepreneurs and business owners to hit those revenue goals, or, it doesn't have to be revenue, it could be other goals that you have, et cetera. But you really need that internal motivation and identify your why. Otherwise, like, external motivators, like, for students, like their parents, it just doesn't work as well.
Short lived. Short
Yeah.
lived. Yeah.
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 And then to your point, one of the strategies in the book is actually called turn off the tech. Because even I love social media, I love the internet, but especially for a high school teenager, or even a 34-year-old entrepreneur like myself, it can be very distracting. So when you need to get some real work done or some real studying done, um, you know, there's been a lot of studies, actually. Students score higher on tests when their phone is in a different room compared to when it's even sitting on the desk turned off, because just the sight of your phone
Yeah.
makes your brain wander, thinking like, what did I miss, etc. Are there any text messages? Could I actually go on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, right? So, try to limit the technology as much as possible. Use it sparingly. For entrepreneurs out there, if you're trying to get some real work done, I would actually turn off the Wi-Fi, and start building value. Obviously, sometimes you have to be connected to the Wi-Fi. So if that's the case, just don't have any like social media and stuff, news and stuff in the background, that kind of thing.
Yeah. One more tip.
Oh, one more tip related to life, I would say, would be do what you know. So
Yeah.
this is really more for entrepreneurs. I know everyone gets really excited about hype cycles like AI or crypto or whatever it may be. But I would say the most successful entrepreneurs go all in on what they have studied in the past and know really, really well. And it gives you kind of an unfair advantage. So for me, I've spent 10,000 hours on SAT prep. So that's what I'm going to go and do it better than anyone else. Now, if you're not an expert at anything, start studying, start learning before you start a business.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to be going into a business that you may not know much about. And there are people with 10,000 hours of experience that will basically eat your lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, and I'll add to that, Shane, you a lot of times, people hear that and they think I'm going to do it, but the important part is being diligent to actually focus on the execution. Time block in small increments for consistency purposes, and commit to actually what you actually put in your calendar. So it's a process, and that differentiator of actually somebody, what I find executing in my work, is a big difference. And sometimes people overshoot it, and you just got to do small every single day to get to your 10,000 hours. Think community. We talk about this a lot. Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm in Detroit, and there was a construction company that had a sign once that said, if Rome were built in a day, we would have hired, that crew. So small things compound over time. So I appreciate that.